All right. Hey, good evening. I mean, not good evening. I'm so used to doing this in the evening. Good afternoon, NSPS TV fans. How you guys doing this afternoon? See, I'm so used to saying evening. Hey, it just comes now. Hey, how you guys doing this afternoon?
Doing
I'm
good.
doing great. Hey, it's a perfect 85 degrees here in Central Texas. Man, it is a nice day. And you know what? And it's not a nice day. Hey man, I got a team out of Delaware, Middleton, Delaware, man. These guys, hey, I checked them out, man. They're doing some amazing things out there. So hey, with enough said, introduce yourselves to the world, gentlemen.
My name is Tony. I'm the founder of the MAP team, Middle Ike Paranormal Project.
And my name is Marco Senior. Just a member with him. Been doing it many, many years. And this is
I'm Marco Jr.
my son.
What's up,
So,
Marco Jr.?
yep, double Marcos.
Hey, do you guys own Marco Pizzas, man?
Don't I wish? Don't I wish? We put enough of that pizza away, I'll tell you that.
I heard that. Yeah, it's pretty good pizza. Hey guys, tell me, how did you guys get started in the paranormal?
For me, go Tony. You go first, buddy.
Yeah, Marco, you first. Go ahead.
Well, for me, it really started with my son here. He was a younger guy. I think he was around 10. And he started expressing his interest in ghost hunting. And me, of course, very skeptical, very, figured I'll check it out, but it's all hogwash. So we set up a meet with a group different from Tony's group. When we first started, and I thought I was going to go and I was going to meet up with a bunch of weirdos or something goofy like that. But when I got there, I found out that pretty much everybody was just like me and him, and we started getting into it and started seeing the scientific side of it, and the interest that just continued to peak, and we stayed into it, and eventually fell upon Tony's group and became active with that group until eventually he allowed us to be full-fledged members. So that's kind of how we got into it.
Okay, Mr. Tony.
Yeah, they're a great addition to the team. I'll tell you, they bring a lot with them. I've been doing this since early 2000s. I was officially a part of a team around 2012, 2013. That team did more of the dark side.
Uh-oh.
Did we lose him? I think we lost him.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah, there we go. I think we're all back now.
Okay, as you were saying.
Yeah, we even had a deacon on the team, a priest on the team. So yeah, it was pretty. I witnessed a lot of things when I was with the previous team. But when things started falling apart and stuff like that, we started seeing things that we didn't want to be associated with anymore. I started the Midnight Paranormal Project. We won't turn a project down, but once we know that it's something that we won't take on something where we feel that it's too heavy. So we will pass it on to another team that will take care of the darker side. We do basic cleansing and stuff like that, but we don't get into the exorcisms and stuff like that. We steer away from that. Let the professionals handle that kind of stuff.
There you go. That's one thing I always preach, man. Let the professionals handle that. All that.
Sorry, guys.
All that. Weird stuff. So you guys basically, pretty much like me, man. Somebody's calling. They just want to validate that they're not going nuts. Mm-hmm. So you guys are going there and validate, and try to put the family at ease, and just tell hey man, you're not crazy. There is, you do have something going on, and we are able to help you with I can say 85 to 90%, because that 10%, could be the dark side of something, and and unlike me, I'm not prepared for that. Tony, and you kind of veering away from that.
Right.
But you do have somebody out there that you can put, pick up that phone call and call somebody just in case.
Right. Yeah, we do carry our crucifix, holy water, salt, and our sage when we have to, but we won't do anything unless the homeowners ask us to. But again, it's a light cleansing just to get positive energy, and then we back off and things continue. Then we refer them out, and that happens more with the residential, and we do a good share residential, but we do have the greater audience with the historic locations, and also a lot of the old taverns that have historic value have been asking us to come back time and time again.
Oh wow! What is your success rate, Tony? When you
Not
go,
not every place has evidence. Even though there may be activity, when we're there that one particular night, that one particular time, we may or may not get something. And again, not every place actually has activity. Not every place has an entity that there's things that can be explained away. But I would say, out of all the places that we have investigated within the past year, I would say at least 90% had activity.
Okay.
Yeah, I concur. I mean, with any of these investigations, as you well know, it's a 50-50 crapshoot, right? Part of the adventure is the journey to a new place. It's maybe having a meal in a town you've never visited, and scoping out where you're going to do the investigation and how you might want to set it up.
Or if you like to get out with nature.
Yeah, that's true too, because a lot of investigations are outdoors. We have one hopefully coming up when it warms up a little bit in an area where I shared a photograph of a friend of mine who was just kind of playing around, taking some photos of themselves as witches, if you will, just playing with a smoke bomb. And little did they know, in the distance in the same photograph, after I looked at it, I noticed figures in the photograph, and they had absolutely no idea when I showed it to them. And I shared that with Tony, and we got permission from the photographer to share that photo, and I think Tony will be putting that on the website soon. But yeah, I mean, 90% it's accurate. We've been successful. We've been lucky. We put in a lot of long hours though to get that 90%.
One thing I have, man, I wish that Texas would have, that you guys have plenty of, and that's old taverns. You guys have a lot of history up there compared to what we have down here. Man, I mean, I just wish I can just go to a tavern that was established back in the 1800s, if not the 70s.
Tony's in Delaware, and we're in northern Maryland, but like Western Maryland and parts of Maryland, keep in mind, several Civil War paths to get to DC, and a lot of what we investigate has some of that. But also, to your point, many taverns and many homesteads from the 1700s, the 1800s that have a lot of activity.
You can imagine that there are still cowboy ghosts around in Texas.
Yeah, that'd be neat if you had cowboy ghosts down there, he says. That's cool.
You'd be surprised on what we have down here.
Maybe around the Alamo or something. Who knows what's around there with all the deaths and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, around the Alamo, it's more of a, how can I say it? It's not more of a cowboy thing, but it's more of a Native American, Hispanic type thing going on down there. It's really hard to get it, to even investigate the Alamo. The state would not let you. I mean, if you get in there with a camera, if you get caught, I think it's a misdemeanor.
Oh, wow.
I'm not even quite sure. It's a misdemeanor or something, but yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That's a shame.
Yeah, it is, because there's so much history there. But yeah, guys, Tony.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about your team besides Marco.
We have, I think it's roughly 10 members on our team right now. They range in different backgrounds. Some of them I actually came across working at a local Halloween themed haunted adventure park.
Mm-hmm.
We all had the same interest, and I brought them along to a few investigations, and they've proven themselves. We all have our own personalities, but they don't clash. We make sure that every team talks about their drama. Luckily, we don't have that drama. Knock on wood, we don't have that drama going on our team. But yeah, it's we're learning as we go. Even though I've been doing this for quite some time, there's things that I don't know, and I learn from everybody else just as much as people pick up from things that I have experienced. But yeah, we're a very innovative team. Besides, everybody wants to go and buy equipment, this and that, but we do have quite a few folks on our team that like to build their own equipment.
Oh, wow. Cool.
That saves money, but also we get to explore different things, different ideas, and different projects.
I just got done the spirit box with all the reverb pedals and the different things. I actually did it, Tony, on my own. I felt real proud, dude.
Good job, buddy.
I'm gonna show it to you next time we get together.
Okay.
I even put some active lights in there that are sound sensitive.
Cool. Tell me, who's the skeptic on the team? Who's the one that you would send in first? To hit that thing that goes bump in the night. You're like, oh no, man, that's just a shelter. Something that parts of the house. Who is that type of guy that go in and debunk everything?
I think we are, but I think off the top of my head, I think it'd be Marco and myself. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we try to rule out what it could be, because we're so. And I don't want to speak for Tony, but I know we really want to find genuine evidence. Mm-hmm. So we try to debunk what we hear or what we see, or try to reproduce it. And so I guess we're our own worst critics at times.
Yeah. And we also ensure that, back in the day, we would have like a recorder in every room, go back, collect the recorders, listen to the evidence, and we may hear a high or something in the background. But what we have done now is we have the closed circuit TV cameras, and it record directly to a chip. So if there's a recorder in the room, we also have that, and that also records audio. So we're able to cross-reference the audio on the video camera with the audio on the actual recorder left in the room. And we could also see any action. If somebody actually was walking through the room, if Marco Jr. was walking through the room and he's calling for somebody else, we now can put a visual to the sound that we heard on the actual stationary recorder. So yeah, I think we definitely do try to find the best ways to debunk what we can debunk. And then when there's things in question, we make sure that we pass the evidence around and majority win. So in other words, if I think I hear something, I have to let Marco or somebody else on the team hear it. If two other people don't hear it, then it goes on the editing room floor. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we might post it and say, hey, what do you guys hear? And see if any of the subscribers or anybody at large who actually comes across it will comment. But we all know social media, you use a camera app or something like that, and everybody thinks it's real and everybody thinks it's something there, unfortunately.
I think what's important too, and I think Tony mentioned it, is, we never try to let anybody know what we heard. We want them to tell us what they hear, because a lot of times if you tell somebody what you think you hear, then that kind of makes them hear it. As weird as that sound, weird as that sounds.
Right, that suggestion. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. You guys, up in the East, and I was watching Paranormal caught on TV yesterday, and then they brought up a very particular house. I don't know if you guys been to it yet, and it's called the Hensley House. Have you guys been there yet?
Yeah, it's up there, I think right on the outskirts of New York.
Yeah.
It's a very small place. We were looking at it at one point. The travel would be about 4 or 6 hour drive. I mean, we tried to limit the paid investigations to maybe one a year, only because all the hype. We were looking at the Conjuring House for this year. That didn't work out. We may end up going to, well, right now we're in line to go to the West Virginia Penitentiary. Mm-hmm. The thing is people hype up these places. So just like the Hensley House, we don't want to invest so much time and energy, and then we get there and there's nothing there. I mean, it may not be there regardless, but it's just we had to be very skeptic when we put the time and energy, the distance into something. But yeah, I watched the movies, the documentaries on the Hensley House. It's very intriguing, but again, we just don't know if people are just hyping it up just to get that tourism.
Yeah, you mentioned everything that involves in a paranormal trip, except for one thing.
What's that?
the money.
Right.
Man, if you don't got the money, you can throw all that other stuff that you just mentioned out the window.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
It's true.
And how much are they charging for someone to go to that place?
Yeah, I'm not sure for a Hensley House. I'm not sure offhand what it is, but it always averages anywhere from $85 to $100 per member.
Yeah, except the Conjuring House was pretty out there. It was like $300 to $400.
Yeah,
per person, and then
per person.
Yeah, it doesn't count. You got to take into account hotel accommodations that are outside of that, food, gas to get up there and back, any tolls. So it adds up when you're doing an overnight investigation or 2 nights overnight. Like we had a really good time like a couple of years ago prior to COVID, where we went down to the Battleship in Wilmington. Was it North Carolina? And that was a good time. That was a good time, and it was not a boatload of evidence, but we got some evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. USS North Carolina was really intriguing. I think we did. Again, it wasn't a boatload of stuff that came out, but what we did catch, let you know that hey, there is something there.
And we're allowed to do things. We do drone footage of the area. Like I did a video on my YouTube channel of that area that we went to in the Ellicott City area, Tony.
St. Mary's Sanitarium.
The Hell House or whatever, St. Mary's. Yeah. So on my YouTube channel, you'll see that. But we do drone footage where we're allowed to of the areas that we try to investigate.
Okay. But man, is there a Hell House in every state or what?
Yeah, just like Crybaby Bridge. There's a
Crybaby Bridge
in every state. Yes.
And incidentally, our Crybaby Bridge, it never disappoints. Every time we go there, something we get on camera or something we get on tape. Yeah. He found it.
There's some Goatman's Bridge. There's always some type of bridge that's haunted.
We got a Goatman Cemetery.
Yeah, and it's crazy.
We have tried Goatman's Bridge a few times.
Yeah. And believe it or not, and I come to find out, guys, that this is more, when we talk about things like that, it's more folklore than anything. People really don't know, on exactly what happened. It could be some stuff made up from ancient times, and it just carry on until now. So we really don't know what the hell exactly going on.
Right. And it's usually more than one story going on at the same time. So you never get the same story that sticks every time you go. Right.
Yes, sir. You're definitely right. Quick shout outs. Mike Chopper, what's up, brother? Mike Chopper is from South Texas, man. Taurus Paranormal Investigations. Hey, how you guys doing down there in South Texas? Mr. Suarez, Jerry Suarez, what's going on, brother? Hey, man, I hope I know it's hot down there. Be patient. It's just going to get hotter. So, hey, just be patient, man. Hey, how you guys doing? Appreciate you guys coming on the show, man. We are talking to Mid-Atlantic Paranormal Project from Middleton, Delaware. Hey, man, show these guys some love. Hey, go check them out on their getting ready. Oh, yeah. Hey, check them out on their Facebook channel, whatever you need. Hey, just find these guys, man. They're out there. Hey, getting ready for that barbecue. Hey, I'm getting ready for it too, man. I hope we have fun that next week. You know what I'm saying? So, with enough said, let's get back to these guys. Hey, guys, let's try to switch it up a little bit. I always ask everybody that comes on the show, what exactly do you guys think about Hollywood and the way that they portray paranormal investigators and how we do it compared to what they do it?
It's not the same thing. And when we do public investigations or we host investigations, we let them know right on top of the bat. You're not sitting with the TAPS team. You're not sitting with Zach, with his team.
That's your buddy.
Yeah. I don't like the drama, and I don't like,
No.
You put up all the hype and stuff like that for the ratings. Yeah. I'm not into that. And we don't have theme music that plays. Oh, did you hear that? Dun, 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 dun. Then you go to commercial break, come back. We're not into that.
Yeah,
I won't even go to Paracon because of that celebrity.
Yeah, I think the Hollywood. I mean, they've got to have ratings, right? So they got to do what they got to do to make it exciting. I know one of the things that we explain to people when we do live events, and we have some crowds around that we go over what we do and how we do it. We tell them that these TV shows, these cameras and these folks are following these people around for weeks, if not months at a time, and condense what they find at the locations they go to into a half hour or 1 hour program. So it's not a place that's so loaded with activity that it looks that way on camera. You're talking, like I say, weeks or a month of condensed video footage and EVP footage, where what we get is in an 8 hour, 12-hour span in one day when we go, or if we go multiple times over a year, then we try to condense what we have into what we find. So it's not realistic. Yeah, and all the music and the drama, and the one guy, that one show, I was watching it the other night, and he was so dramatic on the floor, saying how stressed out he was and how his heart was beating and all this crap. And I got to tell you, man, I was going to hand him the Academy Award for the TV, because it was just ridiculous.
Well, I'll tell you what, dude. Is this what's the name of that show? Is this Hagen guy or whatever his name is?
Yeah, Ghost Adventures.
Ghost Adventures, man. Yeah, I quit watching those guys a long time ago, man. Yeah. And
the only one I actually watched, and then I don't think they did a full season, was Jack Osborne and the Ghost Brothers, where they would review other people's clips, or private residents or homeowners would send them clips so they can review, and they would tell their opinion about the clips. Yeah. I thought that was interesting. So they weren't out there. They weren't out there for the ratings and this and that. They were just sitting back, just
chilling.
Put them submissions. And I thought that was decent. So that was
you had real submissions, not edited Hollywood submissions or camera angles.
Picked up, right. Yeah. The ring camera picked up, or something they may have caught in the background of their cell phone. The real stuff.
Well, the ring camera that you have, Tony, he's got some stuff that's pretty awesome too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, the one thing I always like about YouTube is YouTube shows some of the best amateur paranormal investigating on the planet. Mm-hmm. I've watched Nuke Top 5 for years. I don't know if you guys watch that channel.
Top 5, yeah. Yeah.
And it has some of the best amateur video all over. Well, Marco Jr., maybe you can agree with me. It shows some of the best amateur video of paranormal investigators, probably in the world. I've seen some things. I mean, I've actually seen some things. I'm like, oh, hell, yeah. Well, yeah, that shit looks real. I mean, especially when people are recording or on TikTok and they don't know what the hell's going on, and right behind them is something weird going on. So I always look at that before I look at these TV shows. Mind you guys, there are some good TV shows out there that are, that does some really good research. I mean, some of them are no longer with the show. I mean, that are no longer on TV, like the Dead Files. I love the Dead Files. It was just a 2-man crew, a 3-man crew. The investigator, the psychic, and her camera guy. That was it. I mean, it was just them three.
Yeah. Did you notice that the Expedition Unknown has branched its TV shows in a paranormal direction as well as the historical direction?
Yeah, is that my man Josh Gates?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he started it. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, man.
He's got a gentleman and a lady that do the paranormal part
Yeah.
in there.
Yep. I agree with Jerry. Just put something in the comments about finding, looking at stuff on YouTube, and he mentioned a program called Mindseed. Yeah, I agree with him. Yep, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, and they have no reason. And the good thing I like about YouTube is they're not looking for, that publicity. They're not looking for those numbers. They're just putting stuff out there just to see what people think.
Right.
And that's what I like about that. Compared like to Hollywood, where, like you say, Marco, at the bottom line, it's all about the numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The ratings.
The numbers, the ratings, and besides, man, they're coming out. Hollywood is coming out with equipment I can't even find.
Right.
On eBay, Amazon. I just can't find none of that stuff.
And it almost makes you want to question whether or not some of that stuff that they show on some of those shows is legitimate equipment. Because we scour the internet too. Amazon. What was that place you bought that headset from? Ghost something. Ghost Stop.
That's one of the most popular.
I've picked up REM pods and different things off of those sites and spirit boxes and different things like that. But like to your point, it's some of that stuff you can't find.
Right. The industry, the adventures industry for the paranormal, they go backwards just to try to get that one piece of equipment, or they try to replicate what's already out there and add more features to it. And there was some time ago where we looked at, we were interviewing somebody who actually invented a microphone that picks up certain sounds, but it's able to block out human sounds. And just to get that to appear on a show, you have to pay them close to $5,000 for them to use your equipment. And I made a change since then. This about maybe 3 years ago, but you pay the show production company to show your equipment, to use your equipment. It's not like you send to them; they'll just use it anyway. You have to pay them in order for them to use your equipment for them to get that notoriety.
What I think would be pretty neat, Tony, is if and I'm sure there are investigative groups that do these videos that maybe these stores and these places that sell a lot of this stuff use them to test their equipment and feature it on their channel in an investigation to help promote their equipment. Like you and I, we don't do that. We're like, we want the equipment so that we can get out there and do stuff with it, right? Like the obelisks and I think somebody's mentioning that there's a lot of different opinions on SLS cameras. That's very true.
Yeah.
I use one on every investigation, and sorry, Tony, and I use it on the manual setting because most people do this. I take 5 photographs in succession just so that we can compare the photos, and sometimes you get nothing, something, nothing. And then it's that something that you're like, okay, what was that? Whether it's an orb or a manifestation of some sort, or a piece of dust or a bug, But we try to use as much equipment as we can afford. How's that?
The SLS cameras, I've really questioned some of the things, like the stick figures that pop up. I mean, we have a video out on YouTube where something jumped on my back. We're at a public location, the Haldeman Mansion in Pennsylvania. And just out of the blue, this thing jumped on my back, and my hair stood up on ends as they told me it was on my back at that moment. But we took it to a cemetery, and we're seeing things dance around left and right on the tombstones or in the tombstones. And to me, I'm wondering if it's the rebarb it's picking up inside the concrete. You don't know exactly what the SLS camera is actually picking up. It's very questionable because you could just be by yourself and point at the mirror, and all of a sudden you see 2 or 3 stick figures next to you. There's no way we can prove anything, but it's one of our pieces of equipment that we will show what we find, but we put a lot of questions behind it, so it's up to you to interpret.
I don't know if this is going to come out on camera, but there's this SLS. See it on the one side there?
Right.
There's SLS. That's something that you can buy, not buy. It's actually free. It says Ghost Tube SLS on an iPhone, and we were just tinkering with it. And I got to tell you, it works just like the fancy Xbox Connect device mounted on a thing with a Samsung tablet. And it shows the stick figure, and if you point it at an actual person, it does the outline and everything pretty accurately. So, for what they're worth, I mean, I don't know.
Well, you know what, guys? I've had a podcast with a team out of Portland, Oregon. Well, it was Portland. And what this guy was doing, believe it or not, guys, he was inviting 4 teams to come on his show. Now, these 4 teams had to investigate 4 different locations using their own equipment. Now, the winner of this particular event was they're able to come on a particular show and showcase their paranormal investigation skills and their equipment. Mind you guys that 3 of those teams had the SLS camera and they did not make the cut. All 3 of those teams were cut. And the one team that did not have an SLS camera but was using the app like you had, Marco, actually won.
Wow. See, I'm skeptical about apps. When we use I tell people they can use their cell phone to take pictures or use the video, but everything has to be on airplane mode. The only time we'll actually turn the phone on where you don't have the airplane if we want to go to YouTube and play ear music that's related to the location that we're at. So if we're at, Civil War location, we play, battlefield music, either from the south side or the north side, stuff like that. But other than that, I want your camera to be on airplane mode because that cell phone sets off all the pieces of equipment you have in place. It'll set off your REM pod, it'll set off your K2, and that gives us false readings. So,
and I'm also skeptical of the Obelisk apps because to me, and I could be completely wrong, like when we're talking amongst each other, how do we know that the app's not listening to what we say in order to generate a word that will get us excited because that's what we want to hear? So I'm skeptical about that.
Well, I heard I could be wrong, but that Obelisk has up to, if I can remember, 1,000 words already into the system, into the app already. Now, you could be right, Marco, on that. It might just pop up something that will make you, jump out your shoes.
To me, there's a difference between the actual device, the Obelisk device, because I have seen that in action, and the words is related to what's going on where you're at. Like at Gettysburg, we could hear the Obelisk would say soldier, musket, gunfire, hurt. So it's saying things that's related to that location, and there's no GPS locator in this device. So to me, there's something about the handheld Obelisk that actually does make you say, this is more plausible. But for a cell phone app, to me, I don't know. I just
I don't.
Guy invented, and I know the same guy who invented the Obelisk also invented the cell phone app. But
well, the one thing, guys, when I actually used that app one time in believe it or not, in a abandoned nursing home here in Central Texas. And I can honestly say, guys, I mean, this is where the debate comes in on apps, people using apps and not. Okay. One quick shout out, guys.
Hello.
Well, hello.
Paranormal Japan.
How you doing today?
Miss Irene?
Appreciate you tuning in, man. That is pretty cool. All the way in Japan. Hey, appreciate you coming on the show. I really do. Yeah, so believe it or not, guys, this nursing home was post-World War II. And the evidence that we were getting out of this was evidence that only people from post World War II would say.
Mhm.
Because as you know, each decade, the way people, talk changes, the slang changes, everything
That's
changes.
very true.
So what these people were telling us in this home, in this nursing home, was post World War II communication. That's the only way I can say it, because they only talked about the things that they, what's the word? The things that they liked. The things that they kind of, like clothes, certain type of shoes, and all that stuff. And like today, I mean, they didn't care about all that material stuff. They care about the things, like clothes, shoes, and all that stuff. And that's what I was picking up. It was like when I asked one question is,
Right.
where are you from? And actually, somebody came on there and says, the homeland. So if you, I mean, I don't know, because when I use that app, I actually got some legitimate responses from a certain time in a certain location.
Yeah.
And here's the kicker, guys. I know whoever made that app did not put that,
Right.
in their, list of words.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's,
Yeah. I mean, like you said, everything's a 50-50 gamble. But if you get something that's related to the error, related to the location, then I say it's plausible. It's just, it's just you have to be able to have an open mind, question it, to a certain extent. But if you had a good experience from it, by all means, I would definitely use it, especially if it's related to where you're at.
definitely, guys. I mean, hey, that's what I like about podcasting, because you're actually able to talk about and debate about certain things that that we can talk about and not have an argument about it.
Right.
That's what I like.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Everybody has their own way of doing things. Everybody has their own beliefs.
And all those ways are fine.
Yep.
And you know what? And I've yet to come across a paranormal investigator or a group of individual or a team that does the same thing. Everybody's different.
Right.
And that's what just think, guys, if every paranormal investigator did the same thing, how boring that would be?
That would be boring, yeah.
And if I was a ghost, how I would point a finger at y'all every single time somebody would come in and investigate me, because I didn't see the same shit over and over and over again. I'm like, man, y'all get the hell out of here. I don't even want to talk to y'all. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I mean, dude, that's what I like.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Yes, like that girl compared with other phone apps. Yeah, but then again, dude, I've heard there's some phone apps out there that are just straight trash.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where's she go? All right, here's a quick question for you.
I don't need equipment because I hear and see things that go bump in the dark, including dark entities. Wow. I don't know if that's a gift or a curse, but yeah. Good.
Well, you know what? That is the next question. I'm glad you brought that up, Irene. Do you guys have a medium on the team?
We do not have a medium on the team. We do have someone who is sensitive, and they're learning how to control the feelings, because when you're sensitive, you really absorb the emotions and stuff like that. So they are learning better ways to control it, not get overwhelmed, because at the very beginning, they were getting very overwhelmed, either crying really bad or just getting sick. They are controlling it better. It's just getting out there more. But at the same time, we do not have a medium on the team. Not that we just don't allow it. We just have not we haven't come across the medium who want to join the team. So
and why do you think that is? Why do you think mediums are so scarce? I mean, they're not scarce. They are afraid to come out of the shadows. Why do you think that is?
To me, we've talked to mediums, especially when we've done public events and we discussed the same topic. Their job is to find out, to me, what's out there, why are they there, and how can we cross you over? And that's my opinion. At least the mediums I've come across, they're very quick to want to help them cross over. I agree with that to a certain extent, but I don't believe it should be done unless the homeowner or the host, regardless of where the venue is, agrees to it. Even though they're not, they can't, tie someone down or hold them hostage to stay there. But I just don't think that, because some places that we have found entities are very successful businesses. And because of that entity is why they may be popular, why they may be getting business. And if you allow it to cross over or you cleanse it, what happens to the business? What happens to the livelihood to the ones who own it or run it or work there? So you're trading one life for another. I don't know. So that's a really sticky subject.
Right.
I have gone in debates with mediums about that. I could go either way, but I just know that you should not cross anything over. I know to go to the conjuring house, you have to sign a waiver that you will not allow it. You will not cleanse or cross anything over to get into the conjuring house. So they actually have that in their rules. So I kind of agree with that. Now if I think something was suffering, that might be a different story. We've done Harper's Ferry in West Virginia, and on the spirit box, we could hear a girl crying, hear a girl screaming, help. We hear a man's voice in the background, and all you can visualize in your head was that she's being attacked, and she's just reliving it over and over again. A situation like that, I could definitely see a medium come in trying to put whatever or whoever was experiencing over and over again in this residual haunting, help them get crossover or help them get past it. But if they're not showing any type of signs of hurt, sometimes entities are there to protect the location. So if they're gone, who's now protecting the location? Who's looking after where they're actually staying at? To me, I have beliefs that an entity will only go to a place it's familiar with, one way or another. I tell the same story over and over again. Mark is probably tired of hearing me say this. You have ghost hunters that are just people who are novice who go from end to end or location to location looking for Aunt Sally. Well, you live in Delaware and you're going to Texas and staying in a hotel near the Alamo looking for Aunt Sally. If Aunt Sally never been there before, she's not going to be there now in the afterlife because she's not near that area. She's going to be used to where she was growing up or where she frequents. It could be a favorite restaurant. It could be a hotel. It could be a family's home, her childhood home. Who knows? But I think that you gravitate, if you don't cross over, you gravitate to what you're familiar with, or you attach yourself to a loved one that you want to watch over after you pass. So wherever that person goes, that entity is following them around because they want to protect them and be a part of them in the afterlife. So that's my theory. Other people have their own theories, but that's, I don't know how I got to that tangent, but just I'd be careful about crossing the things over without that permission. Because if I had a guardian angel or someone who's from before they passed, they wouldn't attach themselves to me to look after me. I wouldn't want you to cross that person over because they're there watching my back for me.
So. Okay, cool. What do you guys? This is what kills me about today's kids, the society today. If you don't understand something and you want to dabble up, do your history, first of all. That's something I have to say before I say this. Whatever you do your history. Okay, for an example, there are more kids using Ouija boards today than ever.
No Ouijas.
Yeah, there are Ouijas on investigations. Yeah.
You wouldn't believe how many times I've talked to an 18-year-old, a 19-year-old who hasn't been on this planet long enough to, to do anything right. What must think that they're going to get a Ouija board right? How to open, close.
Right.
Are they trying to summon something? Right. What do you guys think about, people like that?
Yeah, we do not allow Ouija boards. Everybody has their own beliefs, and I've gone in debate on Facebook posts left and right. Everybody's going to do their own thing, but for the I don't want to say rules for our team, but just the understanding our team is that there is no use of Ouija boards. When we do an intake, if we have a location that we want to go to, we'll go out first. If we find the Ouija board in the location, we'll tell them they have to get rid of it before we come and investigate. Again, for those who's listening in, it may be fun and games, but when you're looking for Aunt Sally it's not. It may not be Aunt Sally who's communicating with you. It's it's Beelzebub, the devil himself, trying to pretend to be Aunt Sally. So you got to be very careful, because what you're talking to will manipulate and trick you just to get in contact with you to cross over.
I mean, yeah. Many of us have had the sensation of feeling nauseous or sick at certain locations. It happens more frequently than not. I've been on many investigation, even with Tony, that somebody felt sick or felt nauseous and had to leave because it just didn't feel right to them. And that could be that type of entity that's malicious or has malice. And we certainly, one of the big things that we do during an investigation is we have respect for the location and the kinds of questions that we ask and the things that we do. We don't work on provoking or intimidating or trying to elicit a response based on something negative or disrespectful, right? We don't do that.
Right. Yeah, we just sit around in a corner, talk in the dark, and hope that something talks back to us. And of course, you might not hear it with your ear, but when we go back and listen to the audio devices or the video later, we're hopeful that we catch something. But we do not, like Marco said, we do not summons or provoke or bring things over that's not already present. We only want to talk to what's currently present in that location.
Now, Torres Paranormal Investigation just brought up a good question for you guys. A lot of teams out there are saying when they go into a residential investigations, if you got two mirrors facing each other, is that a problem?
Oh, that's Tony's specialty there.
I do a lot of experiments with mirrors. I do. I love the mirrors. I'm trying to get into describing with a dark mirror. The belief is if you have two mirrors facing each other, that it can open up portals. I have seen that being true, where I can't say they're portals, but more activity being around places that do have mirrors facing each other. But on the same token, I've come across places where there's nothing at all. It all depends if something's already existing and that can entice whatever's on the other side to definitely come over. But yeah, I do believe there are some mysteries that we'll never be able to completely understand about mirrors. Yes, I definitely, I'm coming up with a device now. We talk about people inventing their own stuff. I love electronics, but I don't know, one piece from another piece to solder things together. So I'm trying to do other types of equipment, and I'm doing a couple things right now with some mirrors. So maybe next month you can bring me back and I can demonstrate what I came up with. I'm hoping to bring it on the next investigation, but the mirrors, yeah, definitely. And it doesn't always have to be a mirror facing another mirror. It can just, just a mirror in the dark. During your investigations, if you just put a mirror in a dark room and stand in front of it at an angle and just keep your camera at it and just see if you happen to see something in peripheral vision, you'd be surprised. And bring that mirror in one of the most active spots in your location. I have a couple portable mirrors that I carry in a bag, but I hardly ever bring them out, just because of the location. But certain locations I will bring the mirrors out.
Wow, I mean, I might have to check that out because I've never thought about bringing mirrors on the investigation.
when we were on the USS North Carolina, in Wilmington, North Carolina, I carried I have what you call a body cam, and I actually had a body cam attached to my back. So I always wondering, when you walk, you get that feeling that someone's behind you. So I kept my body cam attached to my back just to capture anything back there. Well, I actually thought an idea for the future is there's little hand mirrors. Every now and then, just take a peek in the mirror just to see if anything's back there. And I can always move my body cam to point into the mirror to see if anything's back there. But I think.
Or maybe have two, Tony. Just have two going all the time. One in the back, one in the front too. A lot of evidence to go through.
I still think the mirror may have something that entices it, or something that may be visible in the mirror that we can't see with the naked eye. So it all depends.
You'd be surprised, man. You got a good little thing going on there because I've never thought about as many times as what little hair I do have. Stand up. I've never, and I've turned around. I've never thought about putting a GoPro back there. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That really is. And see what the hell is. Hey, you know what? If it's something
you mentioned a GoPro. Honestly, if you, I don't know if you want me to mention a brand name, but if you use a police body cam, they're cheaper than the GoPros.
Yep.
You don't have to modify it. Just a police body cam, I'm telling you, picks up just as much good evidence.
It's the best.
Better than a GoPro.
Yep. We gravitated to that after a few years. I used to carry around a infrared little handy cam, and then we had GoPros, and then we the evolution of things took us to the body cams, thanks to Tony and some recommendations. And we put those body cams, we plug them into backup power sources that fit in your pocket, and you keep a 64 gig card in there, and it'll run all night.
Yes,
and it does it in 4-minute increments, right? So that when you're doing your evidence, you can break it down into the videos. Once you pull it into your PC, it makes it a lot easier. And it's got built-in infrared and all of that stuff. That way you don't have to carry it, right? Your hands are free to use your EVPs or your EMFs or whatever else you're carrying.
Yes, sir. All right, quick shout out, guys. Quick shout out, Marianne from Moon Realm Paranormal. How you doing today? Glad you can join us. Go Sisters. What's going on, ladies? How you guys doing today? I am doing fine. All right, just going down. Miss you too. Okay, I'll be up there on the 25th to investigate Camp Ford. So if you guys want to come join me, you're more than welcome.
I think I follow the Ghost Sisters. I think that's kind of coincidental.
Yeah, hey man, they're pretty good. I'm following them too. That's good. All right, guys. You know what, man? Most people would say this is just Hey, it's not me. Most people would say a Ouija board is the same thing as a handheld device, a K2, or you communicating with something, and it's the same thing as a Ouija board. Am I right? Let's talk about it.
I don't agree with that, only because the Ouija board, you're hoping that something guides you and moves the mouse, or I'm sorry with terminology, but moves it around to the letters or the numbers, where a K2 is just picking up the EMF. I mean, electricians use a form of a K2 to check out the wiring in a house. If we're just using their piece of equipment to hopefully pick up something on the other side. To me, the Ouija board is completely different. It has a different purpose for it. So I don't know if I agree with that. I'm looking at some of the comments, and I don't see anybody who's agreeing with that. But yeah, that's the first I've heard of that. We do have somebody who carries a pendulum, and they will hang a pendulum or a necklace with something at the end of it, maybe a crystal, and they'll ask questions. And if it goes in circles, it's a no, or back and forth, it's a yes. Some people say that's just like a Ouija board. I kind of can see what they're saying with that. But then again, it's situational. I think a Ouija board.
I'll tell you, Tony, I'll tell you something that I don't believe in. I've never mentioned it to you. When the people use dowsing rods, I have a hard time believing dowsing rods are accurate.
Right. Yeah, I have dowsing rods. You know that. I actually made a device. Now, after I mentioned this here, people are going out there and make it. They're going to try and make money off of it. But I actually use PVC pipes, and I made a stand so I could put the dowsing rods in it, so you don't have human manipulation holding it, and so that you can't say, "Hey, I made it cross." Or
right. Now that I believe in, but somebody doing it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? That's a good idea, Tony. I mean, I'd rather have those things stationary, where if you can communicate like that, if they cross like that, that's freaking awesome right there.
Yes.
I had, I kind of had my, little moments with dowsing rods. I was a little bit of a skeptic, but once I actually saw how they work and the medium and the psychic that we have on our team, I was all up in her, trying to figure out if she wasn't trying to move them with her fingers or whatever. And I can honestly say, man, she did not. I mean, I can only say that was legit. I'm like, wow, dude. I mean, I was a skeptic for a minute there. And now, hey, I'm a believer in these things. They've been around since day one, if I believe. And people have always used them.
Right.
But
it's hit or miss.
Is anybody
definitely hit or miss.
What's
But
that?
Irene always she has something valuable to say. The best tool that you can have is your eyes and your ears, and she's right in that.
Yep.
My son was bringing up that is anybody a ghost magnet, and what he means by that is ever since he was little, he's approached this with a very sincere heart. This is going to sound a little corny, but true. And his sincerity seems to come through because he gets a lot of paranormal activity attracted to him in responses to his questions, because it's almost like whatever it is can sense that he's coming from a sincere place, and a respectful place. And it was weird. We did Fort Delaware one time, and they had like a gift shop, and it wasn't windy that day or anything. And we were outside the gift shop in like the doorway, and this woman was putting flags and different things up on the shelf. And Marco, we were allowed to do an investigation, and he was using his EMF and he was asking questions about the flags. And all of a sudden, I think was it the flag or something? It just flew right off the freaking shelf right in front of us.
I didn't ask anything about the flags, but
I forgot what it was.
It just did it by itself, and I was just like standing in the doorway to the store, and everybody was wondering like what happened.
Yeah, there something with him there.
Sure.
The item flew right off the shelf, and there was no wind blowing through the window or whatever. It was really bizarre.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was bizarre, and we couldn't recreate it, but it was pretty creepy and crazy.
Okay. Shit. Tony, tell me about some of the hot spots in the state you're in. And Marco, you can come in after him and tell me some of your hot spots.
Marco mentioned one. Fort Delaware is pretty hot. Unfortunately, that's run by the state, and they actually have a contracted team that runs it. So they're very tight knit. But you can do day tours over there, and they allow you to bring equipment with you, but you just can't set up cameras and leave them stationary.
Yeah, it's not free either. You got to pay.
Not free either, right? You have to take a boat over to it, and the boat brings you back.
Did you say it was run by the state?
Either way, yeah, it's a state park. Yes.
Okay, well, you know what? If it's run by the state, it's run by you. So I don't see why you guys would have to pay.
You would think that, there's local taverns. So I don't have permissions to bring up actual names, but Gettysburg is real close to us. Gettysburg very active.
Oh yeah, that's hot. Devil's Den.
Bridge at Gettysburg is very active. Again, it's every state has their locations. We mentioned Maggie's Bridge, which is downstate Delaware. It's like another Crybaby Bridge. We have Crybaby Bridge in Millington, Maryland, which is probably about 15, 20 minutes from where I live.
That's a hot spot.
It is a hot spot, yeah. Places that we have paid to go to that we believe, is worth it is, again, the Haldeman Mansion in Pennsylvania. Not sure if it's still open to the paranormal or not, but there used to be pretty a hot spot for the paranormal teams to go. And West Virginia, Harper's Ferry alone, just the outside, is pretty active, as well as the West Virginia Penitentiary that we're going to be going to, Moundsville, that we're going to in August, is pretty active.
We've got a couple spots near us. There's a little area. It's like was a Civil War path called Jericho.
It's Jerusalem Village.
Yep,
Jericho's the name of the covered bridge.
Right, the Jericho Bridge, and it's called Jerusalem Village. There's a general store there, and a blacksmith, and a mill, and it's kind of an odd story. an interesting one. We were doing it one night because it's not that far from where we live, and you're not really supposed to be there under dusk because it's a state-run park. It's a state park, so dawn to dusk they don't want you there. But we were there anyway, walking around and just kind of doing our thing. And I went near the general store, and they had those little, like, how people use those little lights for Christmas time. They put it in the windows. Well, they had those lights on in the windows. And as I was walking by, I knew that there was a curator that lived upstairs. Um, when I was walking by the window, I saw this lady staring at me through the window. She was wearing like a white hat or something, and I was like, "Oh God, we got caught. The curator's peeking at us through the window. We might want to, leave." So we left, right? So we came back the next day, that Sunday, because they were having an open house where you could come and tour the mill, and they had like a blacksmith guy there, and he was doing the actual blacksmith work, doing a demonstration. It's all free to the public because it's state run. And I went into the general store to just see what kind of merch they had, and he picked up a shirt. And on one side of the general store shows the people that used to live in the house. It was their home on that property. And
Mm-hmm.
then I was talking to an elderly woman that was working the register buying a shirt, and I said, "Yeah, we were here the other night, and I think we might have roused your curator, the woman that lives upstairs." And she looked at me and she says, "No woman that lives upstairs, it's a man." I was
Oh,
like, "Oh, okay. Well, I saw this lady, and I described the lady, and then she said, 'Come with me.'" She walked me around the other part of the building, and on the wall is a photograph of the husband and wife from back in the 1800s when they lived there, and that was the lady I saw in the window. And I was floored. I was like, okay, this story, nobody's ever going to believe it. They're going to think I'm full of crap. But I saw this lady, I swear to you, and I begged that woman to please get her manager, whoever runs the site. I gave her my name and information. I said I'd love to come back here with a paranormal group. We wouldn't charge, we wouldn't harm anything. You could be there with us. We'd really like permission to. And I never heard from them again. But not to say that we can't try it. Now it's that same village that earlier in the podcast I mentioned a photograph of a friend of mine that took photo of her and three girls, and they had a smoke bomb on a foggy day, and they were doing like this picture of witches. And out in the field were these figures that I saw that they didn't see. It's the same area, Jerusalem Village. So and he always gets a Civil War soldier around the other side
Yeah,
of the general store, right?
it's right on the side next to this hatchet.
Yeah, the double set of doors that come up out of a basement, those metal doors. Um, so it's a hot site that I think the map team's going to be visiting in the warmer weather next.
Yep.
all right.
And I agree with you, Irene. I agree with you too. We don't charge for what we do.
No.
We do it for the love of investigating. Yes, definitely. Yep. We never charge anything.
Guys, now this is what I don't understand about certain states. Certain states don't respect old Indian territory. Some states don't consider Indians as anything. They build highways when you're told not to build highways. You build houses on Indian burial grounds. I mean, it seems like whoever these people are, they're not showing no respect for anybody that is of native descent here from this country. But it seems like there are more haunted highways in your area than in any other area in the country. Why is that?
I don't know. The one in PA, they closed down the Honda Highway in Pennsylvania. You would get a lot of the urban explorers going out there, exploring the places. But so I heard recently somebody did buy up the area, like a private owner, and has started making sure they get rid of some of the old highway that was there, so to stop the tourism from going. Delaware, they do respect. We do have the Lenape and the Nanaco reserves here. I'm not sure more about the Lenape. I just know I've heard that name several times. And down south, down by our beach area, is where we have a lot of the Nanticoke reservations and the population that lives down there. So they do respect them here. Not sure what the rules are about building certain places, but I have not heard any controversy. At least not within the last 10 years. Haven't heard any type of controversy here.
Well, a common theory is that, buildings get torn down from time to time. And usually when buildings are like built over like older lands, that's why you see certain spirits in one place.
Yeah, the Maryland area respects the Indian heritage as well. Not related to that, but we had done an investigation of a house that appeared on the Ghosts of Shepherdstown. We went to a Sharpsburg house, Sharpsburg, Maryland, right next to the Antietam battlefield, which is very hot. And there was a story of a Native American woman who was killed on that property. They actually cut her, not her legs off, but her feet off. Another tribe did, and it was that spirit that was actually coming through at our investigation. At that same location, and it's on Ghost of Shepherdstown. I think Rodney talked about it. They found a bullet in the backyard of this location, and the lady didn't think nothing of it. She's like, "It's cool, I got a relic from the Civil War." She took it because it was on her property, and she took it into her house and set it on a shelf. And ever since then, she started getting weird paranormal activity in her home. That's why we were drawn to come to the house to do investigations. And it got so creepy for her, and she couldn't stand it anymore. She actually, was it her or her husband, grabbed it, threw it back out into the woods behind their house to get it out of the damn house. And I think one of the guys from Ghost of Shepherdstown went out there with a metal detector and found it and picked it up again. But we did that house and got a lot of activity. So in the outskirts of that area of Maryland, there was a lot of Native American, not provinces, but homesteads, if you will, that have a lot of activity, but a lot of it's honored and sacred. And a lot of the Maryland parks have recognized that to answer your question. Yeah.
There is a Stewart's Farm in Gettysburg. It was one of the hospitals during the Civil War. It was also on Indian property. And if you investigate at night, you sometimes can hear the flute that the Native Americans would actually play at nighttime. We actually tried to find a recording online and play it to see if we can have anything come back. We heard a couple of whistles, but we didn't get anything to match the exact flute. But yeah, definitely. I mean, I agree. You shouldn't be building on top of, sacred burial grounds. You should follow their heritage. And this was theirs before we came here. I know there's a lot of controversy, but luckily we haven't experienced, that type. Well, not luckily. Yeah, luckily we haven't experienced where, something has been put on top of something. We have experienced more where somebody tore up a cemetery, moved the cemetery, and didn't move all the bodies, and the property or dwellings are now built where the bodies were or still under there somewhere. We have seen that more, but not so much on Indian burial ground, but just, more or less like Potter's Field.
Was that Harper's Ferry, or where was that? We went somewhere where there was a cemetery on a hill. I can't remember where that was. And it was disturbed. It belonged to a private family.
I think it was.
I can't remember. I think it might have been Harper, because there was a lot up there.
Yeah,
there was a lot in that area to do.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes, guys. That is. I mean, here in South Texas, they're selling land left and right. Texas is so big where I can drive 3 hours and still be in the same city.
Wow.
That's how big Texas is. The city of Houston, you can drive 6 hours and still be in Houston. Dallas, same way. And so the farther these cities are being built, they got to have land to build whatever they're doing. So they're actually taking land and just demolishing whatever's on it, not caring about the history of it whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I brought that up to you guys.
Yeah.
But it definitely.
Yeah, there was like you
No.
brought up at the Haunted Highway. We do have a Haunted Highway over the line in PA. I think it's about maybe an hour and a half away, 2 hours away from us here in Middletown. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Definitely.
All right, guys. Hey, you know what, man? Dude, it's been an hour and 10 minutes, and it seems like it was just
great.
It seemed like it was just 20 minutes ago before you guys logged in on this podcast. Have you guys ever been to Kentucky?
No, I have
No.
No, you inviting us?
You know what? Thanks, Irene. I really appreciate it, man. Show the support. If you want to go on and subscribe to the channel, I would really, really support. Really thanks for that. But there's a lot of weird things going on in Eastern Kentucky, man. I had a gentleman.
Hey, I'm game. Trust me.
We like road
Been
trips.
to Pennhurst in Pennsylvania as well. That's another pretty good spot to go to. Have you ever been to Pennhurst, an insane asylum that was closed in the 1980s?
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we don't have, you guys are so lucky, man, because you guys got so much up there that we don't have down here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Frederick, Maryland's also a real hot spot because that was a direct line the troops went through in their march to D.C. during the Civil War.
Yeah, that was the most bloodiest battle part of the history.
Yeah.
Wow. And all that territory is just creeped out, probably. I would love
we did a house. We did a house one time in Frederick where the wife claimed she got scratched, and she took photographs, and we got a lot of activity in that house. And we did research on that house, and I think you mentioned it. They actually built that house and that whole development on top of an old cemetery, a Civil War cemetery, which just makes no sense. They exhumed the bodies and did this and did that, but there's still a lot of stuff remaining.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this is which I don't understand is if a developer is going to come in and going to, dig up, and remove everything. But, dude, everything, like you said, Marco, everything is not going to go. You know what I'm saying? This is
not if it's their home. Not if it's their home.
This is where these people were. They died. They laid themselves. They got laid to rest there. So there's got to be some kind of residual there that would just. Yeah, dude. I mean, I don't understand it. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying?
It's nuts. Yeah, it's nuts that you can have ghost cars and ghost trains as well.
Yeah, there's legends around vehicles with people in them and things that in our area too. That I mean, I haven't really seen it or witnessed it or gotten any evidence, but there's a lot of stories. We just got to kind of sift through that stuff.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. But there's so much history there. So much unknown history that needs to get out. I mean, people need to. I'm pretty sure people know about it, but they don't want to speak on it, and it's not in the history books. There is so much that's not in the history book that needs to be told. You know what I'm saying? So dude, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's the same way down here in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to take our history away from us,
right?
In the history books, but
yeah,
as long as we got grandfathers, great grandfathers that can spread that down from generation to generation. Everything would be okay.
Right. I don't agree with erasing the past. You can't erase the past. I think you can still teach the history, even all the controversy stuff, but then build upon that and then teach why it was wrong or what makes us want to erase that part of the history and teach that aspect. I think that would be more educational for the new generation to understand, yes, this did happen. It was not right. And this is, I think that'd be a different approach than to trying to erase things that.
Well, the one thing that my grandparents always told me about history, if you don't talk about it, it's going to come up again.
Well, you say.
Oh, Marco gone, bye-bye. Where you go?
You still there?
Yeah, we can hear.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
They say that if you don't pay attention to history, whether factual or not factual, you're doomed to repeat it.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
So there's words of wisdom in that statement.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. You're absolutely right. And so you really have to talk about it. I mean, or like you say, it's going to repeat itself. And trust me, United States history is shattered in nothing but red.
Mm-hmm.
Since the time the natives, since the time the pilgrims came on the door, knocked on, it's been it's just been covered in red. Yeah. And who wants to see that in their future?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we definitely gonna have to. And you know what? And that's what paranormal investigator is all about. Yeah. The research, the history, the teachings.
Right.
So it won't. We are, believe it or not, we're the ones on the front line.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I always start our EVPs off, and I'm pretty sure other teams do too. When we start off the EVP questions, we're not here to hurt you, we're not here to harm you. We're here to learn your story so we can share it with everyone else. Why are you here? How did you become to be attached to this location, whatever it may be? We just want to learn more about you, and that is how. And most of the time we'll hear back, and the series of questions lead us to understand more who it is that we're asking questions with, and and doing that research, like you said, we're able to prove, yes, there was a person here with that type of profession, or we hear a name Jack, and we're able to find out there was an owner or a staff member or a servant that was named Jack at one time. And that's the good stuff about doing this job, is when you actually can find some type of concrete evidence from doing your research from history. And if you erase too much history, we won't be able to research places, so yeah, definitely.
Yeah. One thing that we have down here, I don't think you guys, I'm pretty sure there are some up there, is slave cemeteries, slave plantations.
Yep.
And dude, some of the creepiest places I've been to, and and it's you know what? I'm going to retract that. I can't say creepy. Some of the cemeteries I have been to have been slave cemeteries, and at some point I felt comfortable, but then again I've had that feeling where I don't belong there,
or the feeling of despair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We've had cemeteries more so in Maryland, right over the Maryland line, where you'll have the white cemetery on one side and the black cemetery on the other side, and some of those stones will read dates that were back to the slavery times or back during the Civil War times, and you do get a different feeling when you go from one to the other. Different story altogether. There is in Wilmington, Delaware, there is a Jewish cemetery on one side and a Christian cemetery on the other side. And if you go on certain nights, clear nights, there's a fog going from one cemetery to the other. And it's not humidity, it's not from rainfall, it's just unexplainable fog. It's going from one cemetery to the other. And if you park your car, you can actually watch it go in one direction or the other direction. And it's unexplainable.
That's weird, because I got a photo actually on a plantation. I was actually on the plantation, and I actually went through the big house front door. Now that's something that my ancestors couldn't have done when they were slaves. So I don't know if me going through that door was actually a trigger for something. I'm pretty sure it was, because it was cold, but it was not that cold where you can actually, draw fog in it. There was no moisture in the air to make that fog. Mm-hmm. So captured that photo. I'm like, wow, dude, what the hell is that?
We'd love to see that. That's cool. Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell is that, man?
Yeah.
And it was crazy on that whole investigation because, believe it or not, Tony, Marcus Jr., it was. I'm not kidding you. There was. Let me count the investigators. 1, 2, 3. There was 4 investigators that I brought with me, but on the video, I counted 5.
Wow.
Now, where that 5th one came from, I do not know.
Wow.
And we ask ourselves, did somebody show up that shouldn't have, did somebody come late while I was on the backside of the plantation? Or was there, was she already there? And dude, could nobody even explain on who that was?
Right. Wow.
And, it was totally, it was kind of creepy, but cool at the same time. Knowing that you actually had somebody there that was with you, you couldn't see, but there was walking side by side with you the whole damn time.
Right.
I can't understand that one. All right, my friend is a great whole family was murdered. A little girl was a slave and I crossed over months ago. This is in the States. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Right.
Irene mentioned something a little bit earlier in reference to come over, and she'll show us some places over in Japan, but she won't go to the Okahara forest. For those who don't know, I believe that is the suicide forest over there in Japan. I agree with you. I know that there's a lot of mysterious things that happen in those woods. Very sad. I would not want to ever investigate that woods or that forest. I just think it would be just too draining. But I definitely agree with you. Though on the same token, I would love to do catacombs in the underneath of Paris any day.
Definitely. I mean, I don't know how. I think two of those might be both of those might be two in the same. Just one's up high, one's down low, and you probably end up getting the same results either way. Yeah. But here in Texas, we have a underground cemetery. I've been trying to get a hold of.
Wow.
I've been trying to get it. How they? I don't know, but I am wanting to get up there and check it. It's in Amarillo.
Okay. My favorite drink. Okay.
Yeah. I would love to get up there and check that place out. We are scheduled to go up there in April.
Okay.
But curious to see. You know what I'm saying? Hey, guys. Hey, it's hour and 22 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, is there any question that you guys would like to ask me?
I want to make sure and thank you for giving us the opportunity to be on the podcast and meet with you and to discuss this favorite topic. And we're very, very happy to be on. Thank you again.
Hey, no problem. It's been my pleasure when you guys accepted, man. Hey, Tony has treated me like a next door neighbor. When he wanted questions, he tests me. And all that stuff. So, hey, thank you guys for coming on the show.
If you're ever on the East Coast, give us a call.
Give us a call for sure.
Hey, I would love to, man. Is there anything you guys would like to ask me? Feel free. No?
We're good. I'm good. I'm following you now. I have watched 1 or 2 of your podcasts. I haven't been able to have much time within the week's time that we scheduled this. But it's definitely very entertaining and very knowledgeable too. I'm learning more about other teams and stuff. So
yeah, and that's what it's all about, man. Just getting to learn what you guys do over there. And getting a chance to meet people from different teams, different sides of the coast, East Coast, West Coast, South Coast. It doesn't matter what you're on.
One of the things trying different too, every investigator loves to thrill the investigation, but I think we struggle just as much as the next team of having the same investigators go through their evidence.
You're right.
Find new ways, because without the evidence, how are we going to get our name out there? We have to show what we're finding. And if we're asked to do public places, or we're not out there for all the likes and all the subscribers, but we have to show what we found, because if we say, we're on the road, we're going to do this place. Of course, curiosity, what you find. and
Right.
just to investigate, and that's it. We need to be serious. Go through your stuff. I'm willing to give 4 to 6 weeks to get through the evidence, especially if we try to do one investigation a month. We have to be able to pace ourselves. So we're trying to find different ways to go through our evidence and either to come together as a team, like you see on TV, and do it all at one time. Or just make requirements. If you don't do your evidence for the last investigation, you can't come to the next one. Putting something out there. But what I come up with, I'm trying to the idea is connect to other teams. And as long as you're willing to
if they're serious about being a part of it, then they should be doing the investigating and sending the evidence to a central repository that we've created for Tony. And the more we got, the more we can share, right? That's what it's all about.
So if another team is willing to keep our brand on the video clips or the audio clips, we're willing to share what we come up with and share raw evidence and come up with a unified evidence review team and get other opinions on what we may have captured. And we're willing to look at other people's evidence, just to help out, So again, that's out there. If anybody's ever interested and want us to help us review some of our stuff, by all means, contact us. I can put out there, our email address is doyoubelieve@themapteam.org. So again, if you have some submission that you want us to look at, or if you're willing to listen to some of our stuff and give us your opinion so we can, get through these hours and hours worth of evidence, that'd be great.
Yeah, I used to see on Sundays, man, after an investigation, hours and hours of just looking at video and, like you said, audio. And not only that, man, that's the only time I have available to prepare myself for the following investigation. So not only am I doing work for from the previous investigation, I'm trying to do work for the next investigation.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a daunting task.
Yeah, you're never caught up.
Right. If you have 4 cameras and you have, say 8 different recorders and you have your body cams and you're there for 4 to 8 hours, multiply that together. You have, close to a month worth of reviewing. Because I always say, because I used to do video editing back in a different lifetime, and you always say double the amount of actual footage you have, to go through and actually edit, stop, and pull it out and everything else. So, 8 hours worth of investigation just with one piece of equipment, 16 hours just for one camera. So especially when you stop and starting it and stuff like that. So
yeah, me myself, I hired somebody to do that.
Okay.
And they only charged me like $50 to go through the evidence and everything. And I told them, you have to be thorough. I mean, because you have to do this like it's your own. Because what it looked like if you go through evidence and then I come behind you and see something that should have been picked up, then I'm not going to be a happy camper, because at that time you're messing with me. So like I told them, and we came to an agreement that he wouldn't do that, and the rest is history. I've yet to find anything that he didn't catch. That so I can only say, I probably got a diamond in the rough with this guy here, where he's able to do that.
Right, exactly.
Okay. All right, guys. One quick question before we get out of here. If you had a place where you want to investigate that's on your bucket list, where would you go? Starting with Marco.
Go. Bucket list. Where would you want to go? He's not sure, but I could tell you in his brain, if we could find a really cool, abandoned, haunted amusement park, that would be a place where we would want to go.
Wait. What's the name of hold up. What's the name of that abandoned music park? We just talked about this last week. Actually, it sits on Indian burial ground. They actually built it on, and it's on the East Coast, and it's up there close to Kentucky and West Virginia.
Shawnee? Is it Shawnee?
I think that might be it.
Yeah, thanks to Irene. I think it is Shawnee. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
There you go, Tony. Bucket list.
I want to do a old state hospital or a sane asylum. Also, I want to do a lighthouse. I've never done a lighthouse. So those are two on my bucket list.
Okay. All right.
Okay. This was great, man. I appreciate that. I'd love to come
this
back
was
and
great.
talk equipment next time.
All right. Well, you guys haven't gave me. You trying to get rid of me so fast? I haven't had a chance to tell you mine.
Oh, it's yours. Sorry about that.
What's your bucket list?
My bucket list. How far is New York from you guys? About 6 hours, you say?
Mine's
Earlier?
about 2 hours for me.
2
Yeah,
hours
it
for
depends. 3 hours for me, but it depends on what part of New York.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna go to a little island called Island of the Dead. I think that's around Manhattan. I'm thinking it might be in the Manhattan area. I'm not quite sure. Island of the Dead. Look it up, guys. It's a place where they put all the COVID people that did bodies where families did not claim.
Right.
You know,
Wow.
we all know that New York sits on an island, so
Yeah. I remember where they were palming the bodies up during COVID. I remember seeing that. And I didn't yeah.
So they put it on the Island of the Dead. The Island of the Dead was a sanitarium before it was anything, because there was already people there that were buried there. You know what I'm saying? So there, you're looking at maybe 2,000 to 3,000 bodies there already. Then they went in and threw an additional 60 to 70,000 bodies there. Can you imagine? They're probably having ghost wars there. Hey, this is my territory. No, man, you never know about spirits these days.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Island of the Dead, New York. The next one would be, I've always tell people this, it's got to be Europe, Normandy Beach. After I visit Normandy Beach, I will head over to Germany, to Auschwitz.
You couldn't do that if you're sensitive, you know. Definitely.
Oh yeah, no.
Yep, I get it. Yeah.
Dude, you couldn't make it in there, man. You need shit.
Yeah.
An 8-pack of toilet tissue to stop you from crying.
Right.
You can cry.
It would be too heavy. Yeah. It would be too heavy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can sense when spirits are around. I think so.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. I think he's got some sensitive in him.
Okay. Well,
I agree with that.
Yeah. All right, guys. You know what? Tell the world how to get a hold of you guys.
We can do the email address I just said. Do you believe at the map MAPP team.org. Or you can just come out to our Facebook page, look up the Mid-Atlantic Paranormal Project. You should see Bob Boo right here on my shirt. And just, my phone number's out there. You guys can go ahead and give us a call.
Yeah.
And there's YouTube channel.
Yes.
The map channel. I mean, I've got one. It's not part of map, but I'll certainly get you into map if you stumble upon me.
Okay, cool. All right, guys. Hey, it has been a pleasure talking to you guys, junior and senior Tony. Hey, let's do this again. Hey, guys, this is Mid-Atlantic Paranormal Project. You guys want to get a hold of them, please go to their Facebook page. I think you guys have an IG also.
I think it's just I think it's spelled out. We're the map team. That's our ID. I don't know any other way. Yep.
All right, so you guys know how to get a hold of them, man. You guys ever up in the Delaware area, hey, feel free to give these guys a call. If you're looking for an investigation or just want to hang out, drink some Budweisers, I'm pretty sure these guys are up to it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, but with enough said, hey, you guys enjoy the rest of your Saturday. I really appreciate you guys taking the time out to come on the show to tell the world a little bit about you. Hey, and like I said, let's do this again.
Absolutely.
And hopefully, hold on. I got a quick message. Mike said he's down to drink some Budweisers.
There you go. Happy hunting.
Yeah.
Hey, with enough said, guys, you guys, hey, I really appreciate it, man. Hey, enjoy the rest of your evening, your Saturday. Whatever you guys going to do, hey, I wish you guys nothing but success, and a lot of love. But with enough said, hey guys, this is NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast signing off. Hey, I will see you guys at 7, where I am talking with Mr. John Montalego from Durham, Texas, from Dark Explorers Paranormal. Will be coming on the show. So until then, peace. You guys have a good one now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. What do you guys think about that team from over there in on the East Coast? Mid-Atlantic Paranormal Project. Hey, man, good team there. Good team. They're doing great things. With enough said, we're going to get out of here, guys, and we're going to go have something to drink, and we're about to come back here to talk with John Montalego from Dark Explorers Paranormal. Believe it or not, guys, today is NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast 2nd year anniversary. So, hey, thank all you guys, all you paranormal investigators that came on the show and showed me love. And you're the ones that got this thing started for me. So I really, really appreciate it. I can honestly say that I'm in it for the long haul, and I am going to going to do something special. I don't know what, but maybe you guys can help me out on what should I do. I think I should take a couple of shots of vodka or something just to celebrate this milestone that I've done. You know what I'm saying? But in the meantime, I'm about to get out of here, guys. So peace.